Welcome to Steal a Spotlight TV and William Steele True Crime. This is William Steele with my guest host, Ignacio Esteban, retired
Bill,
ATF agent. Welcome back,
Bill,
Ignacio.
what's going on, man?
All right.
More problems. It just gets worse. The situation out there in Israel and Gaza, it's horrible. What's going on? The conflicts out there, and what's disturbing is how many people are sympathizing with Hamas in our country and around the world, and how disgraceful is the Jihad Squad in Congress with Rashid Talib, Congresswoman Talib, with AOC, Omar, and others out there supporting this resistance. Now, we all agree things have to be done civilized. There's a disagreement with territory. We understand that. This has been going on for 75 years, 80 years since Israelis came in there in 47. We understand that. But what they did, that mass murder, go out there killing babies, burning people alive, kidnap. There's over 200 Israelis kidnapped in Gaza right now, right? The hell against their will. Underground tunnels are suffering and dying. I mean, that's not the way to do things. But I don't think Hamas is backed by Iran. I don't think they want to do a civilized. They want all-out war. They want to destroy Israel. They don't want a two-state solution. They want the Jews out of that area, out of Jerusalem. They don't care if they share the history together. They want to absolutely destroy them. And this is what's happening. So they are defending themselves like a good nation should defend themselves, right? You massacre our people like we did 9/11. Well, we found you in Afghanistan. We found you in all parts of the world. Bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan. Special forces, Navy SEALs went out there, and the last thing he saw was the muzzle of a Navy SEAL's AR-15, right? His assault weapon. That's the last thing he saw on this world, and that's a good thing. And this will be the last thing Hamas sees is their weapons when they come and light them up. I mean, that's what they deserve, but what they're doing to them.
I absolutely agree on this story. You and I are in complete agreement. My understanding is, I am a strong Christian, and that the Jewish people are simply, according to the Bible, which the Old Testament Torah, the Muslims claim they follow that also.
Yeah,
They are God's chosen people. So either live at peace with them or endure God's wrath. That's the way I look at it. That's the bigger spiritual picture. The logistics on the ground is, why can't they live in peace in the same territory? You would think the Muslims would just try, but no, they want to hurt and kill Jewish people. And again, this is my opinion, not YouTube or anybody else or Ignacio's.
right.
Why do you target these people? They have been, because why? You think that they were behind, the crucifixion of Jesus? No, actually, it was the Romans. They pushed and assisted on it, but it was the Romans. So why the victimization of Jewish people throughout the centuries? I don't know. I have some good friends. I love the Jewish people. I love the state of Israel. I
Mhm.
support them. It's the tiniest thing in the Middle East, and
Tiny,
probably the
tiny
most
piece of land,
successful.
but it's a blood land. Blood. It just conflict that has been going on for centuries, for sure,
Yep.
but recently very intense. And who's behind a lot of this? Who's funding this? The rogue Iranian regime, the
Right.
Ayatollahs. They are behind it. They're funding it, arming them. All those weapons are coming from Iran. All the funding is coming from Iran, right? At least the Biden administration did not return the $6 billion, right? The horrible hostage exchange for Iranians that were convicted in this country and our people that were falsely arrested because they don't support the horrible regime. Again, not smart trades. We talked about this with Victor Bout. We talked about
Is
this with
that the
others.
case? Is that actually the case? They did not get the release of the money yet.
Yeah, that's what's been reported. It's in Qatar, and they agreed not to release it because of what's going on here. And of course, Hezbollah is ready to come down. You're watching the skirmishes. They once, I think this is my opinion based on my analysis, what I'm hearing, what's being reported. This is escalating. Once they go in there, the Israelis go in there in Gaza City to go after the tunnels and go after and find Hamas. I think Hezbollah unleashes to cause more problems, and then we'll see the Syrian rebels come in, and then we'll see what else happens. I think escalates and we get more involved.
Yeah, they're launching, and then there's another one, Islamic Jihad within Gaza, that
Yes,
launched a missile the other day. It went straight up, malfunction, came straight down into a hospital parking lot, not to a hospital. Killed a handful of people. We pray for them and their families. It was an accident, but it was on their side.
right.
Hamas put out immediately PR that it was Israel, false narrative, lying PR like they always do. All the photography, all the CCTV cameras, all the security, surveillance, satellite shows that came out
Shows.
of Gaza Strip from a site controlled by Islamic Jihad. It was their own missile. And so all the foolish people that are so easily led around this country, college professors, students,
Oh,
oh,
it's horrible.
Israel deliberately targeted a hospital. It had nothing to do with Israel. And these
No.
professors that are riling up these kids and taking the money from them and their parents to support this terrorist group, in my opinion, should all get prosecuted federally for supporting a terrorist group. That's what Hamas is.
They should get no federal funding. These universities that get federal funding
They should pull it
for the
off.
professors, take it out. Take the
Pull it
money out.
off.
No more federal funding for these universities. No more.
All the people who are seeing the facts, including some Democrats, Republicans, Christians, are starting to pull their kids out of these schools, and rightfully
Absolutely
so.
should.
Absolutely.
And this is a big schism for the Democratic Party, because a lot of Jewish Americans do not like what they're hearing from the Democratic Party, and especially those who support BLM. Remember BLM? They had the poster there they support the Hamas coming in there with the flag.
Black Lives Matter supporting terrorists.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And
Yeah.
then there was some Playboy bunny that supported Hamas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Try to
There's a
live
lot.
under their rule and see how they would treat you over there for that,
Yeah,
for your
no.
behavior.
Resistance. They call it a resistance group, and it's anything but that. But I look at Congresswoman Tlaib.
It's not even a matter of opinion. It's simply not by the facts. But they're
Yeah.
putting it out there as if they are. They are not a resistance group.
No,
They are
the jihad squad, well, these people calling a resistant group, right? And can you trust any one of these people in a briefing about Israeli operations, and not to leak it to Palestinians that have contacts with Hamas to say this is how they're going to do this operation? You can't risk them.
It just goes to show you, charismatic people can easily get elected because they can fool their constituents to vote for them. Oh, she's very fiery. She's this, she's that. I'm going to stand up for you. But when they have a lack of education, lack of the facts, you're putting a monster in charge. You're putting a monster in charge. And that's what we have. Infiltrated Congress, uneducated people, the jihad squad, who don't know the facts, or ignoring the intelligence, and running with Hamas public relations every time they hear it.
Or Bill, it could be even worse than that. They don't care what the facts are. They have their hidden agenda, and that's all they care about. The facts are irrelevant. No matter what way it goes, this is how I'm going to spin it, and this is the way it's going. Because for her, it appears that she is more Palestinian than American, right? She cares more about what's going on over there than over here, because that's not good for our country. But she doesn't care what's good for our country. She only cares what's good for Palestine and over there, not for American interests. America, our interests come first, then come their interests. Obviously, we want a two-state solution. We want to solve it, but we don't want these problems here. And then you're seeing the riots. What we don't want here is this little conflict. There's a lot of Palestinians here. There's a lot of Israeli Americans here. This start. And I don't know if you saw what happened to the lady who was the head of a synagogue in Detroit. She was brutally murdered.
Did they find out who killed her?
She stabbed. Well, this is what I'm thinking, because a lot they were saying, well, that little boy who was Palestinian was murdered by the landlord, right? He was stabbed to death. Look at the coincidence here and how the killing happened. And this is where the investigative side of me comes out. You start piecing things together and you start looking at it. He was a landlord. He said he heard the news. It was Muslim. It was Palestinians. This little boy, his family's Palestinian. They're Muslims. He snapped in there. He tried to kill the mother, trying to stab her to death. She went in the room, called 911, and he killed the boy. And it was horrible what he did to them. And now he's going to be paid for that. Now, this woman, she's in the same area. Remember, all this is in the same area, in the greater Detroit area. Same kind of killing with a knife. She is, and they don't think it's tied to anybody particular. So it seems like she was targeted because of her being Jewish. Could be Palestinian. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We don't want this escalating in this country, where now you're seeing these battles back and forth, back and forth.
You know what's disgusting? There's so many attacks on Jews. They're the highest attacked, group in this country, and have been for years. The Bidens pretend and lie and say it's not happening. They're the black lady who she thought it was most important to tell everybody in the middle of a beginning of a war with Ukraine, I'm the first black lesbian, this, that, and the other thing of this background, who's going to be the press secretary, and everybody's like, who cares about your credentials? Put that out separately. We have serious issues going on in this country. We don't care what history you're making at the moment. Especially the day she said that, there was some crisis going on. She is so self-absorbed liar, and she gets out there and lies on behalf of the other liar, the Biden, and there's no attacks. We're monitoring it. There's no uptick. And then this president would rather sniff the hair of young girls while he's hugging them and whisper inappropriate things in their ears, mumble across the world stage eating ice cream cones, because that's what he does. He wants to focus on ice cream and vacation.
That's what he can do, yeah.
And you know
he's
what
awful. And he was on vacation. He was on vacation in Delaware again at the beach, reading his book or whatever he does there while all this is going on. When he came back from Israel, oh my God, what a long trip! Now I got snooze for a week because
the Democrats need to step up and realize it's time to remove him legally from power. I mean, he's destroying the world. The country is flooded with illegals. He's on ice cream.
The only good thing is we know now. Yeah, with RFK Jr. going as an independent, he, like I said before in other shows here, was a strong third-party candidate. No incumbent has won since the last 50 years. Carter, Anderson did it to Carter, Perot did it to Bush, and now he's going to do it to Biden. And he's taking a lot of votes from him. It's going to be hard for him to win.
The other thing I was about to get on, and
the question is for Trump.
What's that?
You see what some of the states are doing to Trump. They're trying to remove him from the ballot.
Oh, brother.
His name won't be on the ballot.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
going to be interesting.
Write-ins.
Colorado is one of the states leading that charge. We'll see how it happens. So Colorado's leading that charge to remove Trump from the ballot. And it might go to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court is conservative. 3 of them are Trump appointees. I think he'll survive that. And it'll be okay. So it's going to be interesting election for sure. With 3, maybe 4, who knows who else might be on there.
I want to circle back to Biden. We respect and honor our troops. They're about to be put in harm's way again because of this incompetent president. There's been 14 attacks on American bases and troops, and including a lot of troops injured over the last few weeks. He said nothing about it to date. He goes on vacation, doesn't respect his own troops, the people that are defending our way of life, being put in harm's way because of terrorists that just keep things stirred up instead of trying to join the world community and be civilized. And this disgusting president doesn't give them any recognition whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it just was starting to leak out about how many attacks there has been on American bases in Syria and Iraq. I forget where else. They're launching attacks from Lebanon right now into Israel. It was on the news yesterday. So that's Lebanon.
Oh no, the Hezbollah. It's they're all going on. And Gaza Hamas was still able to launch. I think I told you a missile late yesterday and hit some buildings in Israel. So these guys, it's going to be unleashed on Hamas, and hopefully, I know the UN is kind of taking a stance against Israel now. A lot of people are calling this apartheid. They're calling it genocide. They're really, Israel's taking a really bad stance. They're really making them look like the evil doers themselves, while they're just responding to a terrorist group that attacked them, and they're making us look bad too. They're saying, "Oh, you support evil, so you're also, if you're part of this conspiracy to help the Zionists, Israelis keep that region and get rid of, destroy Muslims and Palestinians in that area." No, we're helping Israel defend itself. Go with a two-state solutions, work things out civilly. Let's move on forward, right? But to this obsession that I'm going to run Israelis and Jews off this area in Jerusalem once and for all, that's not going to happen.
I follow the IDF, and I ask everybody else to follow it on Instagram. Israeli Defense Forces has an Instagram channel. They're all over the place. But anyway, on there, they'll put up a lot of things. And sometimes they'll say, this image was going to show, and it would a horrific crime that was committed by the terrorists when they went and invaded Israel 2 weeks ago. However, we would be taken off this platform if we actually put the images up. Yesterday, they put up an audio purportedly of one of the terrorists right after he killed, bragging of killing, I think it was 14 people. He takes one of the victims' phone, calls home back to Gaza. I have her, and he's calling her every name in the book. I'm killing Jews. I'm killing Jews. And just bragging about it. And his family, you could hear them celebrating in the background, the son crying, "You're a hero. You're a hero. Kill some more. Kill some more." And they're just boosting him up.
That's horrible.
So these are the peaceful Palestinians back home, and they're not all terrorists.
No.
They're raising them to do this in their schools, to kill Jewish people. What the hell is wrong with these people?
Killing a Jew is a good thing for them, and that's how they get brainwashed to kill Jews.
I encourage all my fans, go to it's called IDF, Israeli Defense Forces.
I just hope they can get as many hostages back, Bill, as possible, because once the land incursion begins to go into Gaza City, they're going to execute all those people, because that's what's going to happen to them. So hopefully they can get many more back.
it's going to be scorched earth, okay? And so they're going to say, well, Israel, you have to proceed this way and according to the laws of war and conduct. And well, this really isn't necessarily a war operation. It's more a law enforcement operation on steroids. You're going
True.
after these ruthless criminals that have
Murderers,
according
mass
to news
murderers.
report,
They're mass
yes.
murderers.
And so Israel's held to this huge standard, which they're trying to maintain. They announce before they drop a bomb. They put flyers, please evacuate. We're not after you. You know, we want these monsters that did this. And so
Get them out.
they're
Get 'em
laying
out.
waste to the place. They're going to be accused of war crimes if they're not already. And then yet you don't hear one country, not even one country in the Middle East, not one country saying to Hamas, stop. This is not part of Islam. This is not right.
You know what
You
I
don't kill
found
people.
odd too, Bill? Yeah, you know what I found odd too? Is why is it, this is a Muslim Brotherhood, right? They say. Why isn't Egypt opening up the southern border with Gaza and letting these people, refugees, into their country to help them out, right? Just put the tents up because you want them out. You want these refugees to be safe. So why aren't you opening up? And you're a brotherhood. This means so much to you. Then why not? But they don't want them either. Think about that. The Egyptians don't want them either.
It's unfortunate that they were trained in school from the time they're born that that's going to be their obligation to kill Jewish people because it's like a pit bull. I personally don't like him and don't trust him. That's just me. I've seen cases where they attack kids and eat babies, all kinds of stuff. But then people will say, no, they're great animals as long as they weren't abused or, you know, whatever. But I also heard they're very jealous when there's a new child in the house. So if they're raised their whole life fighting and then they get put in a shelter and then they get adopted, they have that maybe that vicious streak still. If these people from time their children are indoctrinated and brainwashed with education, that's all they talk about.
It's a
is how
cult.
they become a hero. It's a cult. It's cult on steroids.
It's a
That's
cult.
all it is. It's a
Cult on steroids. I
steroids.
mean, that's what these people do. Once you get brainwashed, it's hard to bring you back and unbrainwash you.
Right.
It's a lot, and we see it all over, and it's unfortunate, Bill.
They
But we'll
lose their
keep an eye on this. This is something we're going to talk about.
They lose their compassion for other human beings. They only think the world revolves around
Yes.
them and their idiotic beliefs that do not comport with the reality of the world, real, imagined, or spiritual. What they're doing contradicts their own book and the Torah that they say they also rely on. So what is wrong with these people? They're brainwashed.
And we need to look into our country. We don't want this mess spilling over here.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people here. This mess is going to spill over here, and it's going to get uglier because now we start seeing just a little bit of killings.
Yeah,
it's going to keep on getting more and more and more. What once the invasion begins, Bill? Because I'm watching these commentators. If you haven't watched them on different shows, those who defend Hamas and those who defend these groups, they're already saying they're here. Be careful with some sleeper cells, or people just get what they call inspired. I guess because of what's going on, events on, and then all of a sudden, because they're sympathizers, they're coming and do it. So watch out for our country, watch out in Europe, and watch out in other places. What's going to keep on happening because we have this is going to spill out because this is payback. They see it as genocide, apartheid. They don't care. They don't want them there. They want to get rid of them.
Right. Now here's the thing. Biden's had this open border policy. Tens of thousands of people every day getting in. They've intercepted, 200 actual terrorists over the last few months alone. Okay. The entire time Trump was president, supposedly the statistics show not even one was apprehended because he was processing people on the other side and told Mexico, we're going to increase tariffs to 50% if you don't stop them on your side and process people on your side. So only
and I guess now he sees it. Right. And now he says, now we'll finish the wall. Well, maybe you should have finished the wall when you first started. Now you're going to finish it. Now you're going to do it. Well, that's something else.
Yeah.
Failed policy in Afghanistan.
Chinese military age males.
Failed policies in Afghanistan, Bill. Yeah. Failed policy in Afghanistan. Failed relationships with the Russians and the Chinese. They don't respect him. They know he's a frail old man. That's why I said Joe Biden, one and done. But with RFK Jr. being a strong independent, he can't win. There's no path for him to win now. So he's gone. We know he's going to be gone. Question is it going to be RFK? If it's going to be Trump? If it's going to be DeSantis? If it's going to be someone else who may come out, Vivek Ramaswamy? Who knows? There's so many different. Nikki Haley's doing really well now in the polls. A lot of people, and she was very strong. And she says Israel destroy Hamas. Also go in there, lights out on Hamas once and for all. Bill, get rid of them once and for all. The key is though, after that's done, we have to be careful. One thing one of the generals were saying is important is Palestinians all over the world. Remember this. This is what you have to remember. If you saw the images out of Australia and Melbourne, they were chanting gas to Jews, remember? And right in front of the Sydney Opera House. Huge crowd chanting gas to Jews, gas to Jews, gas to Jews.
Everyone, there should
Are we going to make more terrorists? This is a good point here. Are we making more terrorists now that are now going to expand this worldwide for payback what Israel did against Jews or Christians? Watch out.
because this country is kind and lets people in that say they're troubled, backgrounds, whether it's politically, economically, and they turn on us like vicious snakes, and they're indoctrinating kids here. I think the professors, the kids, and the people that are the most vocal about supporting a terrorist group, they need to enact a law and say,
Hamas,
guess what? You're now, even though you're an American, we're stripping you of your citizenship, and you're pledging allegiance by supporting them in the way that you are financially and with your words, by inciting all this violence. The journalists too. They should be able to lock them all up, put them on a plane, and drop them off at the Gaza border and say, enjoy your time in Palestine. Enjoy
your trip over there. And nothing else. Keep an eye on Congresswoman Rashid Tlaib. That's a problem. That jihad squad is I'm saying right now, it's a big problem for us with this whole issue going on. The support of BLM, anything that's ultra left, socialist, anti-American, it's like they're on board. Those 4 or 5, that's a problem.
It's amazing. They get these charismatic people that people believe in and want to help or see them get in office because they're vocal and they're loud and they're convincing, with no education and no regard for facts or truth whatsoever. Very dangerous. So I'm going to wrap this show up.
Present danger, for sure.
Check out Ignacio's books. My books are in the links in the descriptions. Which book of yours do you want to put out there as being like real closely related to this? One and Done?
Joe Biden, One and Done is good. Always check out ATF Undercover, the most dangerous crime syndicates of America. Of course, that's doing really well out there. That's doing well on Audible. Check out my YouTube channel. Go Ignacio Esteban. Check it out. I have a lot of cool videos talking about these topics, same topics, ideas. I'm trying to gain more subscribers, so please subscribe there. We do well on Rumble. So, folks, you check us out on Rumble. You see all our shows we've done. We've done well on Rumble. And now I think I'm putting in Facebook. Look at the videos on Facebook. Go to our Facebook pages and check our videos. We are getting good numbers on Facebook, too. I'm on LinkedIn. Bill, I think you're putting more stuff on LinkedIn now also, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to.
That's doing well, too. I get some crazy numbers on LinkedIn. So it's great. You look at different platforms.
Yep. So check out the show. I'm also on Steal the Spotlight TV, which is basically a regional cable show. They're going to be expanding that out, and all that stuff gets put back out over my social, pretty much simultaneous to these shows. And the podcast is going through a transition now with a different distributor. However, these shows are growing, and we I have to be careful what I say because my network has a different parameter than YouTube does. But if you like this, the way to see more of it is to hit like, subscribe, notification bells, and all that good stuff. So we pray for the victims of Hamas,
always,
and the families and the hostages for their safety. We do know unfortunate and serious decisions need to be made by people in a very delicate position that are going to pay for it for a long time, no matter which way they go. So with that, we support Israel. There's no ground invasion yet. Hopefully it doesn't become necessary, but I don't anticipate them releasing all the.
It's inevitable. Bill, it's inevitable. Yeah.
Right.
Bill, it's not gonna happen. We know what they are. They're monsters. It's inevitable.
They haven't done the triage of how this went wrong with intelligence, because Egypt claims they notified.
I look forward to that too. Yeah.
I want to see.
A lot of people are going to ask questions.
Yeah. How did the Mossad and our intelligence and then the NSA and whoever else spies on behalf of our governments, no one saw this, and it was so huge of a raid? Listen, for my audience,
I know one thing: they're not gonna have big concerts built anymore near Gaza. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I kind of think it was crazy to have one that close anyway, because you're kind of rubbing in the face of people that are living,
that's crazy.
Lifestyle. But one of the speakers, I think it was Netanyahu, somebody said this is Israel's 9/11, but then they clarified that. They said, in terms of population and the amount of deaths, our incident was bigger than 9/11 because if you extrapolate the population compared to how many people died, it was like 20 times
per capita numbers. Yeah.
per capita. So it was like 20 times worse than 9/11.
And they're both. You hate to compare horrible situations. They're both horrible. I don't want to know who's worse because everybody suffers, and we suffer as a country immensely after 9/11. They're suffering right now. We support them. We understand these are monsters. This is not the way. And civilized people do not act this way. You handle things the right way. These people don't care. They've been indoctrinated, and they want to use violence. They don't care.
Didn't they
But
say
you know
one of
what?
our allies?
We match them, and we destroy them.
Didn't they say one of our allies was a Qatar or one of the countries over there has some of the leadership of Hamas over there, and they won't turn them over? They're giving them refuge. I saw that.
Hamas is international. That's what I'm saying. Bill, we need there, and Hamas leadership is also in the West Bank. You know, they say the West Bank is a completely different animal there, former PLO, but they also have Hamas people there too. Listen, these guys are not just going to disappear when Iran is pumping all this money into them. Either they'll sneak back into Lebanon, or they go to Syria, or they're going to go to other places. But this is a chance at least to hit them hard, to really push them back, because what they did, they were snakes. You know what they did, Bill? They spent 2 years saying that we want to be at peace. We don't want any problems. But they were planning this the whole time. They put Israel to sleep, is what they did, and they struck them when they least expected it. That's what they did to them. Yep. Never to be trusted.
A lot of gangs and
Hamas
organized crime groups, especially gangs, have that same approach. They act like they're backing off, and then they just regroup somewhere else, hopefully away from surveillance, and they still do what they do. Nothing changes. So thank you for joining, Ignacio.
All right, Bill. Thank you, guys.
Stay tuned.